what it was. Y'all know who it is. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge of Self. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight. And say, man, before we even get it cracking today, I need y'all to do 3 things for me. The first thing I need y'all to do is go join my Facebook group, Priceless Knowledge of Self. Also, go follow the Instagram page, Priceless Knowledge of Self. Shout out to Maria and Ember, who are a big part of making those happen too. Okay. And then after that, what I need you to do is, hit that like button right now, man. If you fool with me on any level, you already know I'm about to speak the truth. You already know I'm about to go in. So go ahead and hit that like button right now. For real. Hit the bell icon so you get notified when I drop some hot shit too. Cause I drop about 4 or 5 times a week because I stay working. And then the last thing I need you to do for me, which is of the utmost importance, is to smile. I don't care what you have going on, man. It could be worse. I guarantee it. And plus, you fooling with me right now. Okay? And I'm trying to get us vibrating on the same level and I'm smiling. So I need you to smile, man. I'm trying to be the smile on your face. And speaking of which, that's pretty relevant to what we're speaking on here today. That's because this right here, this a little something about those people that have Jupiter in the first house of their natal chart. Yeah. And see, before we even go there, if you don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jupiter. I'm going to give y'all a little information on the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, we'll talk a little bit about what the first house of the astrological chart is all about. And then after that, you already know we're going to bring it to a climax, which that's my forte. So without wasting any more of anyone else's time, let's get it cracking. So Jupiter is known by all as the planet of luck, but I like to call it the thinking man's planet. And that's because not only does it rule higher learning, but it also gives us a yin for exploring ideas, both intellectually and spiritually. And Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius in the 9th house of the astrological chart. And to a lesser degree, and to more traditional astrologers, it also rules the sign of Pisces in the 12th house of the astrological chart. And intellectually speaking, Jupiter helps us in formulating our ideology. And on a more spiritual term, on a more spiritual sense, pardon me, y'all, it also rules over religion and philosophy and theology too, man. And this planet right here, it concerns itself with long distance travel, ethical and moral values, and our inherent sense of optimism too. And luck and good fortune are going to come wherever Jupiter shows up in the chart. And they're also going to come whenever you can employ the characteristics that come whatever sign that Jupiter is in. And hey, man, this is the most kind and benevolent energy that there is. And it wants you to flourish in the most positive ways. But at the same time, understand there can be too much of a good thing. Jupiter knows no limits. No, Saturn, that's limits and restrictions. Now, Jupiter wants to keep expanding. Jupiter wants to blow past all limits and restrictions. He wants to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. It ain't gonna stop. And that's beautiful in some aspects. But sometimes it's too much, man. And then sometimes things get so good with Jupiter, you could get complacent. So not only is there complacency, there's overindulgence you got to watch out for. And also remember that this right here, man, you got to be mindful that Jupiter takes 12 years to traverse the whole zodiac. And so it spends about a year and a half in each sign, you know, and it's not always even because of retrograde. So make sure you check where Jupiter is in your chart and that'll help you out. Also understand that we already did a series on Jupiter in the signs, which you can go check that out because I was on point on that too. I guarantee you. And maybe I'm just being pretentious and arrogant, but I don't give a damn. So the first house in astrology, the first house is known as the house of self, and the cusp of the first house. This is where the ascendant lies. And this is the point where the sun was rising in the east at the exact moment you were born and all that. But we ain't got to go into that, but you can do this, man. You can think that in the terms of sunrise and beginnings, you can start to grasp the concept of the first house, okay? Because it's here that the new beginnings are centered on the individual, the self, and the voyage of discovery that defines each one of us. Who are you? What will you become? How can you realize your best self? The first house speaks to all that. And it also speaks to how you are a unique individual in this existence right here. The first house also contains our appearance, our apparent personality, and our preferred approach to life. It's the outer vessel, but not the sum of one's total being. And it's the package that we outwardly project to the world. The first house also represents our physical body, and in particular, the head and the face. And the first house also rules over our early childhood and adolescence, but the third house is there with that too. And in some, the first house speaks to, the vehicle that we use to get to the person that we're becoming, both internally and externally. And it addresses our personality and our presentation to the physical world, plus our demeanor and our preferred approach to life as well. So when we take in Jupiter and putting Jupiter in the first house, hey man. So we all know that one motherfucker that never lets nothing get him down, right? Right? Hey, I'm talking about those ones that are always smiling and bringing that positive vibe no matter what craziness they might have been through in life. Well, chances are this is the first house Jupiter person right here, man. And that's because this right here, this is positivity personified. Don't get that twisted. Yeah. And one of the most beautiful things about this placement is the abundant amount of self-confidence it bestows. Because peep this, although Jupiter is often referred to as a planet of luck, this luck that people speak of is actually just a synonym for the self-confidence to go after what the fuck you want. And these people right here, they believe in themselves to the fullest. I mean, to the fullest. And that right there, that's the key to it all. That's the key to it all. But I don't think y'all hear me though. I do not think y'all hear me though, man. And look, besides that, nobody brings the good vibes and that positive energy and that enthusiasm like first house Jupiter people. You should know this, man. They will literally give you the shirt off their back too, man. And they'll do it with a smile on their face. And the thing with that, man, is, the more they give, the more the universe blesses them with in return. So this is a whole beautifully benevolent cycle right here. This is the vibe in itself that just keeps going in a beautiful manner, man. This is somebody who's always growing. This is somebody who's always evolving and broadening their horizons too, because having Jupiter in the first suggests somebody who sees this life as an opportunity to become the best version of themselves. And I personally love that for real. These are some of my most favorite people in the whole world, man. And look, let's also make sure that we keep it real with ourselves if we have this placement too. Because this one right here can definitely indicate somebody with the tendency to sometimes paint a picture brighter than what it actually is. And no matter how good it sounds, right, that's just kind of counterproductive and pointless when you think about it. Just make sure we're keeping it real. It's always good to be optimistic and positive, but make sure we're keeping it real in there too. You feel me? And speaking on counterproductiveness, and this right here, I'm telling you now, self-indulgence can end up being a real issue here too. And with Jupiter representing expansion and the first house representing our body, this one can point to some weight gain. And so, hey, let's be mindful of that. Matter of fact, having Jupiter in the first can point to all kinds of exaggeratedness when we're talking about the physical body. This could be somebody that's rather large. This could be somebody that's rather tall. This could be all kinds of things. And Jupiter rules over the hips and thighs. You know what I'm saying? So you might see somebody that might have you ready with a little surprise. Let me stop the ride. I'm going to behave. I'm probably not going to behave. I just lied right there that fast. Let me stop, man. We're going to get back to it. And we also right here got to be careful that we don't lose touch with reality. And that's in several different aspects of life with this one. Because being too self-confident and doing too much, man, them aren't the only things that could really stop people. Okay? Them aren't the only things. Okay? The other thing that could stop you is just being disillusioned about who you really are. Okay? This isn't Neptune in the first house, but this is somebody with an overinflated image of themselves at times. And sometimes you have to add some humility in the mix. You have to check yourself before the universe checks you. Okay? And hey, man, don't get in your own way and you'll be okay, because this one right here says that you're the only thing that can stop you. You're the only thing that can stop you. Look, man, there's just something about the optimism, faith, and enthusiasm that oozes from these people that makes other people want to fuck with them. And they probably should, because these are actually some of the absolute best people to know, as I was saying a second ago, for real, man. First house Jupiter makes it real easy for these folks right here to adapt to any social situation. And plus, they're so open-minded and jovial that they can pretty much get along with anybody. So they always cool. Plus, that sense of humor that they come with, always playing, always smiling. It's awesome, man. Now, you do have some on the more depressing end of the spectrum that you be like, come on, man, stop. For instance, man, when I was in prison, I had this dude that was always playing. He was always joking every day. And sometimes I feel like that and y'all see me, and sometimes I don't, man. I'm a moody person. I'm a Cancer. So he's always coming up playing and shit. And there be days where I be like, motherfucker, get the fuck away from me. We're in prison. But now I understand it, man. Nothing would get him down because in his mind, he was free. He was never incarcerated. His body was there, but he was still living his life to the fullest, doing his best life, man. And hey, that's something I respect to the fullest. I've also seen that most of these people right here, they absolutely love discussing, new opportunities with other people. And they're so loving and encouraging that sometimes they'll just give away amazing, surefire ideas that kind of end up turning out to be game changers for the person they gave the idea to, man. And that's love for real. That's love for real, man. And they'll get blessed for that. They not tripping because they know their blessings are come. There's some people like, man, I ain't tripping on giving you that because my blessings are going to come. This is that. Okay. And even though it's all love, you can't ever expect these folks right here to sugarcoat shit though. Understand that. Because if you expect somebody with Jupiter in the first to sugarcoat some shit, you probably gonna get your feelings hurt. That's just keeping it real. Because these are extremely honest people to a fault. In fact, they're so motherfucking honest that you can't put a filter on them. No, they serve it to you raw. And as I've said several times, that's my personal preferred method of implementation. And despite the very few select people that these folks right here might rub the wrong way, man, the consensus opinion on these folks right here is typically going to be positive. Because look, man, the fact of the matter is these are naturally positive people. That's just who they are. They're very inspiring. They're very charismatic, and they're always bringing good vibes into the mix. And due to that, good vibes are going to be reciprocated. And then, to the uninvolved, that kind of looks like luck. But, all it really is love and positivity. Just don't get lazy. Don't get complacent, and the blessings will flow naturally if you have this placement. But hey, even if you don't believe a word I just said, even if you think I'm full of shit, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. What that means is it doesn't matter where Jupiter is, Saturn is, Mercury, Mars. We all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And this been some priceless knowledge of self. Hey, y'all need to be hitting the like button right now. If you fool with me on any level, you need to be hitting that like button because I know I just went in. If you hit the dislike button, okay, you a hater. That's okay. But do one or the other. Say something to me. Communicate with me. Tell me how you feel. We need interaction. YouTube is about interaction. I need interaction so I can get suggested to some new audiences. Okay? Let's keep this shit growing. We done came this far. Let's keep it blossoming, man. I appreciate all the love and support. If you're interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Hey, y'all keep it trill till next time because that's all I'm going to do. That's all I know how to do.